Hey, what's up, guys? Today we have a very special episode. I had the privilege of speaking to John Assaraf's exclusive community of Winning the Game of Business. It was such an awesome time. We dived into so many things that impact entrepreneurs all over the place, from mistakes you make early on, things you're not thinking about, and how to think about your business as a true entrepreneur and not be in your business the entire time. We want to share this. We want your feedback. Let us know what you think of the episode. And thanks again, John, for having me come and speak to your community.
Hi, everyone. John Assaraf here, as you know, and with me is a good friend of mine, Jeff Fenster. And Jeff is literally the poster child for being an entrepreneur. And he's had some amazing successes, as you will discover, some challenging moments, as you will discover. And one of his passions is very, very similar to mine, but that's to share what we have learned with others. And so in this interview masterclass with Jeff Fenster, who is the CEO founder of Everbowl, which we'll talk about in just a moment, I'm going to ask him some questions around his entrepreneurial journey. I know there's a bunch of stuff that he loves to share with entrepreneurs. And then I'll let you answer or ask him questions towards the end. And so you've all read his bio. We've sent you information about him as well. So let's not take any more time. Mr. Jeff Fenster, thank you, my friend, for doing this.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, John. It's an absolute pleasure. I love hanging out with you, and getting to meet your community is an honor and a privilege. And thank you to everybody who's attending and making this investment to not only learn from others, and which we all do, but also to meet each other and build relationship capital. So it's a privilege. It's an honor. Thank you, guys.
And you're big on relationship capital. I know you work with Shaquille O'Neal, Drew Brees, Neil Patel. A whole bunch of people are in your orbit. And one of the things I love most about you, Jeff, is you just give. You are just such a sharer and a giver. Can you maybe start us off with a bit of your entrepreneurial journey? Where did it begin? Give us some of the highlights and some of the low points. And then I've got a whole bunch of questions for you. Most of the people here are earning between probably $50,000 and $250,000 in revenue. And they have these aspirations of building big businesses. Some of them might be at 500 or a million, but they are solopreneurs. They might have outsourced, help as well. But let's take them on your journey if we can begin.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, listen, entrepreneurship was something I'd never considered doing. I didn't even know what that word was back in 2007 when I started my first company. I went to law school to be a sports agent. Was doing that, had a daughter in law school, and pivoted after I graduated law school. And a few minutes of being a sports agent, realizing that wasn't the career for me. And so I got a job just trying to figure things out, support a family. Only job out of law school was with a company called ADP, which was a payroll and HR company. I sold very effectively, was highly successful my first 6 months there, top sales rep in the country, and thought that was my career. This is what I was going to do. I'll be an outside sales guy for ADP, make good money. And I got into a dispute, let's say, with my employer about when I was going to get my raise, which was in my contract. And they had told me I wasn't going to get it to the end of my fiscal year, the end of the fiscal year, which wasn't until June 30th. So I'd get it at the beginning of July. And this was January. And I just remember in that moment having this crushing emotional feeling on my chest where I was going to spend the rest of my life waiting for some date to where I could get my promotion, get my raise, take my advancement, that no matter what I did personally, yes, it would skew how that would happen in the future, but it wouldn't happen until that date. And I just remember going home and just being like an emotional wreck and telling my fiance at the time, I want to sell our house, quit my job, and start my own payroll company. Not thinking entrepreneurship, but more out of spite and anger and being a 24-year-old ego. And she was supportive. And so I quit my job, sold the house, moved my daughter and fiance into my parents' home, and started my first company out of my mom's kitchen called iChecks, which was a payroll business. And that was kind of my thrust into entrepreneurship. And it's funny because had I known what was required of entrepreneurship beforehand, had I been informed about all the things that are going to occur without a passion or desire for being an entrepreneur, because I was never in my brain, I don't know if I ever would have done it. And so I would say ignorance was bliss for me in that context, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was really just angry and eager to make money and screw over my employer, who I felt screwed me. And that was my foray into entrepreneurship. And, it was a journey. I was able to sell that first company 3.5 years later, and I sold a few other companies. I've had a few failures along my journey, and I have learned unequivocally that the definition of an entrepreneur is just a problem solver. And if you can solve problems every single day and keep solving them, and you solve them with solutions that will hopefully prevent the same problem from happening again and again, you can start to scale, You can start to build a successful, profitable business. And over time, if you want to exit, there'll be somebody who wants to buy your systems that you instilled. And if you want to keep it forever and make that your career of life, then that works too. But it really is, we're the professional version of firefighters. You know, we don't fight real fires, we fight business fires, we fight human fires, we fight macro event fires and financial fires, but that's what we do. And so that was kind of my thrust. You know, I don't want to waste too much time with my entire background, but you know, I had a payroll and HR company that I sold. I had a recruiting agency that I sold. I had a digital marketing agency that I sold, and then 3 or 4 businesses that were my learnings. And today I have Everbowl, which is a craft superfood chain with just about 100 units around the country, and we're going international next year. So a lot of you friendly faces I saw from all over the world, hopefully we'll have some near you. Construction company where we build not only Everbowls, but any brands that are looking to scale. So we build repeatable businesses, retail, restaurants, service industry, fitness that want to scale around the country. I have a food import manufacturing arm. I have a direct-to-consumer business. We have a concept business where we help launch new ideas. And then I have a capital raising company. And so that's kind of who I am as an entrepreneur. But how I got there was definitely not I want to be an entrepreneur, let's go do this thing.
Got it. So I want to back up for just a moment. I wrote down over here, you know, we're business firefighters. First and foremost, what is your superpower that like, this is what I'm really good at? And then I also want you to tell everybody what you're not good at and what do you do more about the things you're not good at?
Yep. So I'll start with, I'm an ordinary guy. A lot of times we look to the famous celebrity entrepreneurs, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos, the Mark Zuckerbergs, and we say, well, they have something we may not have, right? I don't have their brain power. I don't have their coding capabilities. So I'm a 5'9" average ordinary guy, and I had to figure out what extra stuff I had to do to get extraordinary results, which is a good thing because it means that anyone can do this. This is not something that is set aside just for the top 1% of 1%, like professional sports, right? Shaquille O'Neal, he's 7'1" and is athletic as anyone else on the planet. None of us are 7'1", and we don't have that athleticism, so we're not able to do that. That's not allowed for the average ordinary individual, but entrepreneurship and business is. And so my superpower is reverse engineering success, creating and finding a formula, and then being relentless on doing it over and over again so I can put that extra on my ordinary and get extraordinary results. What I'm not good at, what I'm not good at is almost everything else. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I don't know how to build things. I don't know how to do digital marketing the way digital marketers do. So I'm not the expert inside of the businesses, the specific niches of what we do. If I own Everbowl in the restaurants, I'm not a world-class chef. I don't know how to be a world-class chef. I know how to scale a business. I don't know how to do that. So what I have learned is to empower others and find and recruit and attract world-class talent to surround myself with so we as a team can accomplish any mission in front of us. And I'm good at the strategy and the formula. And so all the things I'm not good at, I have no ego about. I'm the first to tell you. And I want to partner with people like everyone on this call that are world-class at what they do. And together we can accomplish a lot of incredible things. And so it took me a while because early on I thought I had to be great at everything. And my ego was standing in the way of my success. My ego was pushing talent out the door. And when I pivoted and realized, wait, Jeff, if I allow and attract world-class talent to join me and I let them be remarkable, I let them be sensational, well, then together we can do really cool things and I get to be on the winning team. And it doesn't matter if I'm not Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. If they're on my team and we win, I still have the ring. I still have the championship. I still get the opportunities that I want. And so, you know, there was a thing my grandfather used to always tell me, which is, would you rather be right or would you rather win? And I realized I'd always rather win. And so being right doesn't matter. Is Jeff the smartest guy in the room? No. Is Jeff the most talented guy on his team? No. That's okay. I still on the team and I still win. And I get to talk to all of you guys about the plethora of successes I've had, both financially and through business, because I've had world-class teams. And so when you realize that you don't have to be, Elon Musk doesn't actually build the rocket ships that are going to Mars. He has world-class engineers who are doing that. He's not actually there building Tesla cars himself. He has world-class engineers doing that. Just like you think about all the other great entrepreneurs and great businesses that you are looking up to or aspire to become or aspire to be like, they're filled with incredibly talented people. And the face of the business, the CEO, the founder, might get all the credit. might be what everyone sees. You might look at me and say, Jeff is the founder of Everbowl. He deserves all the credit. And I will steal that credit, unfortunately, from talented people. But I'll be the first to tell you, I'm standing on their shoulders, that I'm not here but for them.
For sure. I appreciate that. I totally agree with you. It's like we discover what we're good at. And then, I heard from Dave Lineker, one of my first mentors, who was the founder of Remax. He said to me, he said, John, hire people who play at anything you have to work at.
That is such a good saying.
Right? And then when I said to him, I said, but I can't afford to hire. He said, then barter with them, partner with them, defer payment to them, but do what you do best and figure out how to get the rest done.
Well,
Now,
sorry?
what would you say to people who are, right now, solopreneurs, solo professionals? They're a one-woman shop, or maybe two or three people, and they don't currently have the funds to scale, to grow. And there's sales and marketing and management and AI and finance and legal and technology and product and services. There's a lot of hats to wear as a business owner. What would you say to her or him, about the process for them?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to understand what are the blocks, what are those walls that you're staring at that are keeping you from accomplishing what you have to accomplish to start to expand the team, right? Because you can't be world-class at absolutely everything. Nobody can. And I was a solopreneur out of my mom's kitchen when I started. And it was, okay, I need to generate X dollars in revenue before I can bring on this person. And this person's going to do this for the organization, which will free me up to hopefully bring on more revenue as the sales side. I needed the operational support, because every minute I was doing operations, I wasn't out selling. So I was in that same push and pull early on that a lot of solopreneurs are. And that is why entrepreneurship is really hard, because unfortunately, two things have to happen. You have to be able to compete with the companies that have resources that you don't, and do all the things that are required of business, but you have to do them without total access to resources, all by yourself, all while still trying to grow and run your business. It's not meant to be easy. It's the hard phase of the business. It's the teenage year where you're too young to be small, or too little to be, too old to be young, and too young to be old. And you look like an adult sometimes with that, puberty happening, but you're still a teenager. So you still sometimes think like a child, and you still sometimes think like an adult. And it's just that part of life, the weird teenager phase, which I'm sure you all remember. And so what you have to do is you have to set those goals, and you have to understand specifically, okay, I'm generating 150,000 in revenue. I need to make another 100,000 before I can bring on somebody. Well, what are we going to do to get that 100,000 and make a laser focused target and reverse engineer what has to occur to do it? What I like to do is use relationships. I've spent my whole career building relationship capital. It's who you know, not what you know, because you can start to think organically instead of paying for it, right? You can pay for people, but you can do other things. So here's a great example of what I did. I had a payroll business. I had to sell payroll, but I had to also support my clients that I had and operate this thing. And I was a one-man solopreneur. Well, I had a partner, but together we were basically two-man solopreneurs. And what we realized is we can't be on the street selling because I have to support my companies that were actually paying us money. And so I started to do creative relationships. I went to local banks and I said, listen, if I bring my clients to you that need new business bank accounts, when someone comes in with a new business bank account and they need payroll, will you refer me? And I would lead with value first. I came to that meeting not with an idea, but with 3 clients to give the banker, because I paid the banker first through clients. So all of a sudden the banker had this guy walk in and say, here's 3 new accounts for you. So I'm doing his job for him for my existing clients. And now all I'm asking him to do is when someone walks in and says, hi, I'd like to open a business banking account, I would say, John, please just say, who do you use for payroll? Nobody? You got to talk to my resource, Jeff Fenster over at iChecks. He takes care of a lot of our clients. And now I have you hopefully helping me on sales while I'm still here organizing the operational help or support that I need. And if I do that with a banker, and I do that with a business insurance broker, and I do that with a local bookkeeper, and I do that with a local CPA in all of these different communities around my city, San Diego, well, now I have a team of salespeople that I'm not paying, but I brought them clients from their community because I have them. And the way I was able to do that is I did something that a lot of business owners don't do. Talk to your clients repetitively, consistently, and all the time. Because by doing that, you start to understand what their problems are, what their needs are. They build a relationship with you, which means you're not just a transaction. You start to become someone that they like, someone that they trust, and when the mistakes happen, they don't leave you. When someone calls them and says, oh, I can give you better pricing on payroll, Nah, I love Jeff, we're good. They don't even entertain the call. So I got stickier clients, which then allows me to not have any leakage as I'm trying to grow and scale. And then hopefully leads start to come in from these, fun relationships that I created in my market. And as a result, the few that are actually driving me business, I drive business back to them. And over the course of years, we made millions of dollars from these relationships because guess where all business owners need? They all need a bank account. They all need some form of bookkeeping or accounting. They all need business insurance, which means 100% of the potential clients that I'm going to need are going to need those services. So why aren't we working together? Why aren't we collaborating when I don't have the cash to go hire somebody to do that, a sales rep or a business development person? I can partner without costing me any money with these individuals that already have this book of business. And so you've got to start to think about your business abstractly and say, what can I start to do in my industry, right? If it's digital, if it's building a community, if it's construction, if it's a hair salon, like it doesn't matter what service you do. There are people out there who can be on your team without having to be on your team. And that will allow you to slowly navigate from solopreneur to bringing on more talent. Because that's the hard thing. Scale is required. Too many companies wait to scale until they think they have everything perfect, and then they die because they run out of resources. And your number one job is to stay in business today. So we got to scale fast, and we got to make sure that everything we learn along the way, every mistake, every road bump, we solve the problem, and then we prevent that one from happening again. And over time, you now have this moat around your business, and you really know what all those things are going to be. And then you're scaling and you're growing, and all those issues you were dealing with start to fade, and then you get the fun thing of the next set of issues and challenges as you get to the next size.
Business firefight. So a couple of things I heard. Number one is set some goals from where you are to where you want to be, and then create a plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I heard be resourceful in the absence of resources. Number three is something that we teach is identify who your ideal target audience is. And within that, it's not just the end user, but who could be an ideal target audience that could refer business to you.
That's right.
And that's a joint venture or an affiliate or just some kind of a partnership with people where money does not need to exchange hands. Everybody, if you heard that as well, put a Y in the chat. If you heard something else, put that in the chat also, so we could do some group learning here.
And
All
just
right, what else?
and one metaphor I want to share with that, you see it in the animal kingdom. If you ever watch those Planet Earths or all those fun things,
All the time.
you'll see these feeding frenzies in the ocean, and birds are dropping from the sky, dolphins are coming from here, the tuna are coming from here, and all these collective predators, if you will, aren't attacking each other. They're collectively attacking this bait ball. And I hate to synergize that with your customer base, but if you think of your clientele as this bait ball, the CPA, like in my example, the bankers need them, I need them, the business insurance brokers need them, etc. So we are all these, and so we can work independently and try to find bait balls by ourselves, or when we collaborate and one of us finds a bait ball, we can go together. And now you're providing a totality of solutions to a brand new business owner or a business owner who is making a change, and you're providing a solution. And when you do solution-based selling, it works forever. Transaction-based selling, you're going to be doing these things forever, over and over and over again. You always have to find a new customer. Solution-based selling means you're building a relationship, and you can sell to that same person or business again and again and again and again. And they come to you when they have a problem, which means you also can seek out opportunity and almost spin off or create new businesses just to solve those opportunities that you're constantly hearing. And I had to do that myself during the financial recession. So there's so much benefit to not being a solopreneur and start to be a collaborator, even with potential competitors, if you may view, because Bank of America was one of the banks I worked with, and they had a payroll offering. It was an inferior payroll offering, and they weren't making a major investment into it, but they did have one. But my banker still referred me business. Why? Because I brought him enough business where it was worth it to him to keep me bringing him business. I was making him look good, so he was able to give me his existing customers, and it cost him nothing. So there's a benefit to that. So I want you to really understand the power of it and start to look at your industry and what are the surrounding areas that you can start to work together with, because it can change the needle dramatically for you.
Love it. Jeff, how much time have you in the past and or now taken to just sit down and create, whether it's a vision and goals, and then an action plan that you can implement?
Well, I might do it a little differently. I don't sit down and have long strategy mental sessions. I know a lot of my friends and successful entrepreneurs do this. I've never had the patience to do that. When I sit down like that, my brain goes, and the first idea that comes, I now want to investigate that, and I don't have the patience to look at that whole thing through. But what I use is I use a lot of the me time, and I don't dream at night. I plan. I don't dream in the shower. I plan. I don't believe in daydreaming. To me, that's just like, I don't know. I never found value. I never got anything from it. So what I do is I plan. So when I'm in the shower and I'm thinking about, what does the next year look like for my business, and what do I need to accomplish? I'm thinking about it in the shower, and then I'm setting milestones, but immediately I want to stop a year from today, and I say, okay, I want to climb Mount Everest in a year from today, and I've never hiked a mountain. Great. That's a very audacious goal, dream, hope. But if I don't buy hiking shoes, I can't do that. So I like to set daily goals, and I want to Kaizen my way there, and I'm okay with some just-in-time learning so long as I know my end destination and I know what my immediacy 30 days looks like. Because in those 30 days, I'm going to do a lot of learning. And so often we build 5-year plans and we realize years 2 through 5 never occur because you couldn't have predicted in 2019, COVID in 2020, supply chain craziness in 2021, inflation and interest rates going through the roof in 22 and 23. Like, no one could have predicted this in 2019. But what I can do is say by 2025, I want to be an international franchise around the world. I can make that goal. And then in order to do that, what do I got to do now? What are the first few steps? So immediately I go from big overarching goals, which I have defined. They're clearly on my vision board or my wall of strategy. But then it's like, okay, that's going to happen and I'm going to get there. I might not realize if it's 5 years or 3 years, but what do I need to do now? What do the next 30 days look like? And more importantly, what does each day of the next 30 days look like? So what am I doing today to move towards that goal, and then tomorrow and the next day and the next day? And as I do that, something is going to come that I didn't realize. It's going to say, oh, you also need to pivot and go this direction now because that has to happen. Well, great. Then I start to move down that. And I look in 30-day increments, and then I look in daily increments of how do I win the day? You win the day, you win the week, you win the month, you win the quarter, you win the year, and then 5 years goes by and you go, I blew by that goal 3 years ago. I just didn't realize it. And that's how I kind of approach it, which talking to, like I said, a lot of my friends don't.
You have a vision.
Yes.
Then you have some goals.
Oh, yes.
And then you focus on win the day, win the week, win the month, and you do know what you need to get done in time to move you forward.
100%. And I have daily goals. Like I care more about what your goal is today. I don't really care what your goal is a year from today because that's the future. Live now. What do you have to do today, right? So a good analogy and a metaphor that I like to use is like getting in shape. We're coming on January 1st, and everyone's going to say, I'm starting a new workout program, Jan 1, new year, new me. I'm ready. This is the year I take control of my conditioning and my shape. Okay, great. So what are you going to do? I'm going to buy a gym pass. I'm going to work out 2 hours a day. No, you're not. You've never worked out, and it's not a habit you have. What if today you buy your gym clothes? Tomorrow you put your gym clothes on and watch Netflix. You can do that. The next day you put on your gym clothes and you walk to the mailbox. You can do that. The next day you put on your gym clothes and you walk to your next door neighbor's mailbox. You can do that. The next day you walk to the next door neighbor of that person's mailbox and wear your gym clothes to the grocery store. You can do that. And if you do that, and every day you go one more mailbox, and then you go to the gym for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and you can choose to go longer, but your only goal for the day is 5 minutes. Well, guess what? After 30 days, you put your gym clothes on every single day. You built the habit of making sure you had clean clothes ready to go for workout. You made it a point to ensure you put those on, and you had to go one more mailbox. You are building the person that is required to become the person who can work out 2 hours a day, which was your goal, and you wanted to do it day one, and I'm telling you don't worry about that because you're not there yet. So you're not going to break and fall off because you created this goal that you are just not the human that is ready to accomplish it. You have to build that. You have to build those traits and those habits and that consistency. And so by winning just the day with a micro goal, we will Kaizen our way there. And it's a matter of when, not if, we hit the goal versus I want to work out and I want to be in shape by January 15th. That's an unrealistic goal if you haven't been working out and you aren't in shape, and you're going to go to the gym for an hour the first day, and then you're going to feel like you've just got hit by a Mack truck for the next 4 days. You won't be able to get out of bed. You don't have the habit of putting on your gym clothes, and life is going to get in front of you. And so by setting those little goals and winning every single day, you become unstoppable. And that is scalable.
I totally agree. I often say is first you build the habit, then the habit will build you.
That's
You
right.
focus on simplicity first. You add intensity and complexity later.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you're actually using your brain the way it is meant to be used. I love that. Jeff, I want to shift if we can from some of your personal stuff, if I can, to selling and marketing.
Yes.
Um, I'm not going to give you my thoughts on it, but I don't care whether you're an entrepreneur that's selling coaching, pain management, you're a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, selling a franchise like Everbull, and whatever the case might be. Give us your thoughts on marketing, marketing part, branding, lead generation, lead conversion, etc., and then selling
Mm-hmm.
as a skill set required for a business owner, a small business owner specifically.
Well, I think marketing it's something we know how to do, but when it comes time to do it, we do it the way we know it doesn't work. We become too many brands like to become commercials. They think that by selling their these are the features of my product. Everbowl is a great business because you're going to make 18%, whatever the numbers are, right? And I just start to feature dump on you. People don't listen to commercials. What do you do when you used to before, streaming? What did we do when commercials came on TV? We change the channel, or we get up and make a sandwich. That's not what you want, right? You want to market, which means you want to create and showcase why whatever product, service, or community you're building is going to attract the people who should be part of it. So, like if you think about Nike, Nike doesn't sell shoes and market their shoes online. They sell a feeling of being an athlete. That's what they're showing you when they show athletes that you know and can associate your brain with. They're showing you that feeling of, look, our community is athletes. And the athlete isn't always going to just be the famous people, because then sometimes they show normal amateur moms and dads and kids. But they're showing that by wearing our gear without saying it, you're an athlete. So they're marketing a feeling, and they're marketing a lure to a person that you aspire to be or want to be or believe you are. And so when you market, you've got to understand that your goal should be to create awareness around what your product or service or community brings from a feeling side, and who should identify with that. Everbowl is a lifestyle brand. It's about unevolving and living your best life and going back to the way we meant to and being the best version of yourself. So I tell this to anyone who ever reaches out or, and wants to talk about buying an Everbowl franchise. If you just want a business, go buy a different business. But if this is an extension of who you are, the lifestyle that you want to promote of health and wellness, well, now you should talk to us, because now inside of this sphere, we are a strong player. Now, there are competitors of ours and other healthy businesses that you may look at and choose. Great. But don't buy this business when you are also more interested in the fast food business, or the fast and the fried or cigarettes, right? If that's your business, you're just the wrong operator for us, because I want people who are brand champions of Everbowl. I want to market and find and attract them. So when I do that and I put that into the world, that's who we are attracting, which means they believe in the industry, the niche, the vertical, the path we're taking. And then they have to decide, is this a good business or not? But market your services the right way. So if you're a hairstylist, I'll just use that as an example, you can say, well, I cut the best hair in my town. Okay, that's cool. Or you can showcase people in your community feeling amazing after they get their hair done and their new look, and they feel confident and they feel beautiful, and they're out in their community doing amazing things with a smile, because when you feel good and you look good, you perform good and everything's positive. So if you market that experience, I'm like, whoa, that's cool. Where do I get that feeling? Oh, your style, your hair salon. And then when I go there, you can talk to me about why you're pricing, or your technique, or all the other stuff. But attract the people who care, because if I'm bald and I don't care about that, why are you marketing to me about hair? Right? I'm the wrong person. And if you just give me a commercial, you're just throwing good money to get zero or next to zero results, and you're attracting a transactional customer who's going to call you and ask you, well, you're the cheapest in the community? They don't care about what you mean and the vibe and the feeling and the value your brand is trying to deliver. They care about just the bells and whistles. And they're going to leave as soon as the next one comes up with better bells and whistles or a better mousetrap. And so I want to attract relationship customers that live and work with me forever, because that's how you build. Like, look at Apple. Apple has a cult, right? Everyone spends a fortune on Apple. And when you look at that box, by the way, they market even in the delivery. When you open an Apple product, how awesome is it just to open the thing? The care that they take to when you have to pull off the little sticker, and how they wrap even the wires in what feels like better material. because the experience with Apple has to start the second you touch their product. They realize that even though you're going to throw it away and it's going to be gone in 45 seconds, you feel like you bought something of value because of how they package it. And that's marketing just as well. Marketing is not just an advertisement. Marketing is how you do anything in your business, how you answer the phone, how you send an invoice, how you send an email follow-up. Are your invoices just a generic Microsoft Word doc that has no love and attention and care into it, but you're talking about a brand that's supposed to be something of love, care, and attention? Well, then when I receive my bill or my invoice, I'm like, okay, and I'm going to pay it either way, but that's an opportunity to talk to your customer. That's an opportunity to showcase the culture of your brand, whatever it is that you're doing. So I look at everything I do as marketing. Every time I touch the world outside of the four walls of my business is marketing. And so it's not just the commercial. And then on the sales side, I don't sell. I believe in solution-based selling, which means I look for problems, and if I have a solution, I'm going to deliver it. And if the solution provides a win for you, great. And if I can make money doing that, awesome. And if I can't, I'm okay with it, because transactional sales is very hard. And that old adage of used car salesman, there's a reason for that. Whether it's accurate or not, that stereotype came from the fact that they'll sell you anything. They'll sell you junk. And I have to make my number. So sale, Glengarry, Glen Ross, always be closing. Get to the bottom line. Get the people to sign on the dot. Okay, I don't want to live my life that way, especially today when reputations precede you. I would rather make sure that if it's not a good fit, I tell you. If you need to go to my competitor, that's fine. There's so many people. There's 8 billion people on this planet. I can find people that I can find a solution for if I have a good product. If I don't have a good product and I'm just peddling it to survive, it's time to think about doing something else. So, example, the first thing I say to any franchisee, whoever calls me and I'm on the phone with them, and is or potential franchisee who's interested in Everville, I always say, you're interviewing us and we're interviewing you, and we should both attack this with the perspective of, let's both find a reason not to move forward. I want you to look for every single thing, red flag, gut, instinct, anything that we say or show you that makes you feel like this isn't the right business for you. Great, I'm gonna do the same thing. If we get to the end of the sales cycle and we get to the end of the road and neither of us found it, let's do business together. Guess what? I have good quality franchisees. True with investors. True in my payroll and HR company. We had very good lifetime value LTV with our customers because we predetermined that they were the right fit and our solution solved a problem. And when I'm going through that discussion and I'm going through the solution-based sales approach, which I didn't create, this is a long before me strategy of sales where you're asking probing questions so you can uncover their actual pain point. Do you need a new payroll solution, or did we just talk you into this call because we told you we were going to save you money? Okay, well, maybe we can save you money, but how important is that savings to you? Is it that you really need the savings, or am I just trying to save you $10 and I think that you're going to take the call because $10 a month is $120 a year, but you're making $2 million a year? It doesn't matter to your business. Why and how am I going to get you there? What are the actual issues you are or not having? And if you have none, then all I'm going to tell you is, look, you have no issues. So the truth is, making a change is adding more risk to your business. Obviously, I want to earn your business today. I think you'd be a great customer for us. We have an amazing solution. I'd love to show it to you, but I'm going to be upfront with you about it. I can't guarantee you're going to immediately feel any savings. In the first couple minutes, might be like learning to dance. We might step on each other's toes during the onboarding process. We will learn to dance and it'll be beautiful, but there might be some bumps up front. Well, now you know me as an honest guy. So even if we don't do business today, guess what? 8 months from now, when you finally do have some issue, man, where's Jeff's number? Let me call him. He was so honest. And then I have people calling me today still from businesses I don't even own anymore that now want my services, and I'm giving them to friends who have companies that I trust, etc. And I become almost like the person, the go-to for individuals out there who need services, and I get to be a solution, and I get to refer business to friends all the time. I make no money from it, but you know what? They refer business to me, and I get the power of relationships that way, and I get to make deposits. And so that's how I've always approached sales, is thinking of forever, not immediate.
Love it. A couple of things, everybody. Many of you have just joined our Way of Business program, and we did 7 days worth of training in our Business Breakthrough Challenge. In the program, Way of Business, go into the Hill method of selling. Well, I'll walk you through the exact solutions-oriented selling, which Jeff talks about. We also talk about discovering somebody's pains, fears, frustration, irritations, wants, needs, and aspirations, so you can be a solution to helping them move away from what they don't want and towards what they do with your solution. And we've discussed You're in the transportation business that produces a predictable transformation for them. So you're getting it from here to there using your program or product. I do have a couple of questions, just as a sidebar.
Yeah.
When all of you think of the John Assaraf and NeuroGym brand, what do you think we stand for? Let me know in the chat. And then after you answer that, is this your first program that you've invested in with me over the years, or do you have 2 or 3 or 4 other programs of ours? So if you can answer those, that would be great. So Prabhajit, going above and beyond, I like that. Remember, I talked about set or don't tell them you're going to be extraordinary, deliver it. All right. Jeff, entrepreneurs seem to experience shiny object syndrome, right? Shiny object syndrome. How do you stay focused, or how do you get refocused?
Yeah, I mean, I call it entrepreneurial ADD, and I'm guilty of it all the time. We're problem solvers and we're opportunists. So when you recognize an opportunity, you're like, oh my gosh, AI, I could do this, I could create this, and I go down this crazy rabbit hole. I use a thing called vertical integration to solve that, meaning what I like to do is I like to vertically integrate my main thing with ancillary businesses and divisions and departments and initiatives that allow me to jump in like I'm a brand new entrepreneur chasing that shiny object, but it supports and expands my main thing. Example, Everbowl. I opened my first one in 2016. It cost me a lot of money to build it. So I knew I was going to go build 100 more of them. So I started a construction company that would only build Everbowls. So I got to be an entrepreneur again. I got to go down this road of, I could disrupt the construction world because, GCs out there, it's all archaic and they charge this way and it's silly and it doesn't make sense. Yeah, but I can just now help Everbowl. And guess what? I went from this price to build Everbowls to this price to this price to this price, which allowed me to scale faster, make better cash on cash return, de-risk every location. And I got to be an entrepreneur again and start over while chasing that shiny, new, exciting thing. Same thing with importing of acai and superfoods from around the world. Very expensive. I'm like, why is it so expensive? I can go down there myself. Let me go down there. I go down there and I realize I could import this myself. So I started my own company to import all my superfoods for me, reduced my food costs, which means I make more money and I can scale faster and it helps my main thing. And now I have 3 companies. I get to be that entrepreneur shiny object thing, which then focuses me. But because it has to, the only rule it has to do is it has to improve, support, or expand my main thing. That's how I refocus back to Everbowl. I can justify the time suck and the distraction, if you will, but it's no longer a distraction because now I'm able to do something that my competitors can't. I can build an Everbowl for half the price of any other bowl shop in America. Well, guess what? That's a front-end sales tool. That's a profitability tool. That makes me more exciting for a lot of reasons, and I can grow a lot faster. So now this is not actually a distraction. It's vertically integrated to make my main thing better. And then yes, fast forward and I can spin it off and now we work with third parties and we have a whole construction company, but that's not why I started, right? That's not how it happened. In my food business, I didn't start with direct to consumer and QVC partnerships and 9 figures in sales. I started just to save me money on acai and pitaya and acerola and fun superfoods. But because it did that and because it allowed me to grow and scale, then I found opportunities around how to expand this outside of the 4 walls. And at that time, it made sense because I had structure and process and humans in place to make sure my main thing stays on the rails. And so I don't have a good answer as how to not have that happen, but I have my answer of how I deal with it. And then a lot of things I just say no to, even though there's great opportunity, right? Because I speak to entrepreneurs and I speak on stages and I get people come up to me with ideas and would I want to partner with them? And of course, I want to say yes to everything. But I still have this rule of right now, my main thing is Everbowl. And if it's not going to expand and grow Everbowl, I cannot and will not do it because I'm not done with the mission at hand. I'm hiking a mountain. I can't all of a sudden jump to another mountain just because you brought a helicopter. I got to get to the top of my mountain. And when I get to the top, we'll look at what the next goal, mission, dream will be.
One of the things I think is the most important word an entrepreneur needs to learn is the word no. No, I can't do that right now. No, I can't look at that right now. No, I can't give you my time right now. But you also need to learn how to say that to yourself. And I have my parking lot. Yesterday, I sat here literally for 2 hours and took all of the notes of ideas that I had. I put it into a Google document. I linked it to my assistant, and I said, I want you to help me prioritize it and organize it into actionable steps based on the highest impact activity for the next 6 weeks. These are all the ideas. But let's just choose one or two, that we're going to move to completion. Jeff, before we go to Q&A, I know we have a hard stop in 30 minutes.
Yes.
Biggest mistakes that you see early stage entrepreneurs make. Everybody, do me a favor. Before Jeff answers that, put in the chat right now, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Survival medicine. John, nobody knows what survival medicine is, just so you know. All right, so I think you need to change that. So jewelry, realtor, relationship coach, chance and choreography, Henya meal, microgreens, grower. And also, as you do that, how many people are on your team? Is it just you? Do you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people? Right, just let us know. Just this way, Jeff will be able to, give you his answer based on how many there are. So you're what I call a solo professional, solopreneurs. 3 people, 1 person. Prabhjit has got 10. He's in real estate and another business, real estate training. All right. So Jeff,
Yep.
What are some of the biggest mistakes at this level, of business? They call them like micro business owner, right? Some of the biggest mistakes you have seen them make or you have made,
Sure.
and how they fix them, and then we're going to do some Q&A.
The first mistake I see most people make, and I'm seeing a lot of it right here, is you're not in jewelry, you're not a realtor, you're not a microgreens grower, and you're not all those things that you guys just put in there. You're entrepreneurs. So you got to remember that's what your job is. What industry you're in, secondary, completely. And that's one of the things that's stopping you. The reason 9 out of 10 restaurants fail is they're started by chefs. They're not started by entrepreneurs. A chef is a chef. They know how to make food. If you're in jewelry, you might make the most beautiful jewelry. If you're in real estate and a realtor, you might be able to buy or sell homes better than everybody. But you're an entrepreneur. So you got to first and foremost solve the entrepreneurship side of it, which is all the things around business. Can you attract customers? Can you attract talent if you're hiring? Can you attract investors if you're looking to raise capital? Can you market your services? Do you know how to do your bookkeeping and accounting and leverage the tax rules and tax opportunities that are available within your industry? Are you able to do all of the legal side and make sure that you're protected as well as survive if someone comes after you? Are you able to handle regulatory? Are you able to think about all the areas of a business from, the finance to the marketing, to the sales, to the supply chain, to the logistics, to the fulfillment, to the customer service? Those are all generic. Those work and are required for every business out there. And those are all the hats that are holding you back right now. And so the second you realize that your actual job is to solve those, and then the fact that it happens to be in real estate or jewelry or restaurants or construction, that's fine. That's secondary, because experience in that is easy to find. Experience is the most overrated prerequisite to start a company. There are chefs everywhere. So if I need a chef for Everbowl, I can go get a chef. But if I need a president or CEO of Everbowl, that's me. I'm responsible for that. So I got to make sure I own those facets, those features of the business, and look at my business through that lens. And stop thinking that you're the best chef in the world making the best superfood bowls. I'm not. I think they are the best, and I'll stand mine next to anybody. But no, I'm the system. I'm a system of bringing superfood to communities around the country and world. That is what Everbowl is. And we have to worry about supply chain of how we source our product, how we get our product to the customer, how we handle customer service and the marketing and the sales and the real estate, excuse me, and all of the pieces that go to it. So that's a very early mistake I see too many entrepreneurs make, that you think you are defined by the industry you have chosen. You're not. You're an entrepreneur, which means you can learn from every single other business out there, regardless if it's your industry or not. What are they doing? And then number 2, are you doing daily active learning? Are you really trying to prevent the problems of tomorrow by learning what others are doing and seeing? And to a lot of people, they say yes, but they're really not. And I'll give you an example. I'm in the food space. What am I doing to learn what smarter food companies that have unlimited resources are doing? Well, I can tell you. I listen to quarterly calls from the stock market because McDonald's is a public company, which means once a quarter they have a quarterly call where their CEO, their CMO, their CFO, their COO, their head of real estate will go on a call and speak to the world and say, this is what McDonald's saw in the last quarter, and this is where we're going. It's a free call. It's available to everybody. They're a public company. You know what I get to learn from them? A lot. Because in 2020, in the height of COVID, they're talking about people are going to start buying more from the home. That third-party delivery thing is taking more effect. They're investing heavily in technology of their app. What did Domino's say? The same thing. What did Chipotle say? Basically the same thing. So what does a small 20-unit acai bowl chain in Southern California learn from that? I should probably start to think about how the consumer behavior is changing from going to a dining room to ordering at home. So am I going to start my marketing different to say, oh, by the way, did you know Everbowl delivers to your home through DoorDash, Uber Eats, etc.? How do you connect with me now digitally? Do I have enough offering? Can I display my marketing and branding properly in this app? Am I showing good pictures? Is my language right? What are my competitors doing or not doing? When you think about Crumble Cookie, Chipotle, McDonald's, their app is fantastic. They told you they were doing that. I learned it because I listened to them. When they told me about the real estate trends, where they're seeing growth, now McDonald's in the last quarter was just talking about a contrition of sales, that they're bringing back their value meal because their pricing with inflation has gotten so high that the average consumer can't afford to buy their food. Good to know. If McDonald's is feeling that, you know I'm going to feel that. So what do I need to look at? How can I start to reduce my costs or make a more value offering? So I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, and I don't have to pay somebody as much as they're paying their team. They tell you this. Every quarter, it's free. So whatever industry you're in, if you're not listening to the biggest, baddest public companies, you're not getting that look behind the hood of your competitors who actually have more incentive to know what's coming. And trust me, they know. So that's what I would be also doing early on is you've got to compress time. You've got to compress information, and you've got to be able to take it immediately. And so you've got to use your time wisely. Your windshield time, if you're listening to music to decompress, okay. But I would use my windshield time to be learning. I would be using my shower time to be learning, my exercise to be learning, because once the day happens and I open my door to business, I don't have time to spend learning. You have to wear 6 hats as a solopreneur. As you scale, you'll have more freedom to do those things. But today you don't. And if you want to compete in the business world, it is cutthroat. It is very hard because everyone is coming for that same dollar in your industry. So you've got to basically use all the tools available to you and use them efficiently and effectively. And that's what too many early on, not young in age, but young in size of business, don't do. You got to remember, there's everyone's like, oh, I don't have the resources of the big guy. And so the metaphor I always use is, yeah, the big guys, they're cruise ships, they're aircraft carriers, they're big tankers, they're boats, right? So they'll run you over and not even know they hit you. But what can't they do? They can't pivot very quickly. They take forever to stop. You're in a little dinghy boat or a jet ski. So while you don't have the cash to go all the way to Hawaii from the West Coast, you can get into things very quickly. You can stay the hell out of their way. You can pivot. You can adjust. So your tools, your advantages are speed and agility. And are you using those things, or are you just saying, well, I don't have size and power, so I lose? No, lean into speed and agility. Try things. Be the first one. You hear about that, immediately start to come out with marketing. We know everyone's going to third-party delivery. Everbowl delivers to home. We're going to try this thing. First bowl on me. Try our new app, right? I can get ahead of them because McDonald's takes months or years to implement something new, and I can do it in days and minutes. And so speed and agility, always be learning, and remember you're an entrepreneur. And those are the 3 biggest things I see early entrepreneurs make that they got to get away from.
I love that. It's so precise. I do have one final question. I'm just paying attention to the time here.
Yeah.
Everybody, almost 2 years ago, we started teaching our students how to use AI for their marketing, selling, processes, systems, planning, right? How many of you have been with me for enough time to say, yep, 2 years ago? Do you know why? Because I've been going to the AI conferences to see what the big boys are spending billions and billions and billions on. And then we started to teach it 2 years ago to our entrepreneurs, which many of you were that. Jeff, let's talk for 3 minutes just on your take on AI. Are you using it? Is your team using it? How and where do you think this is all going with AI agents, et cetera, et cetera?
So yes, we use AI. AI is the future. So go back to 2000, and this is the birth of the internet. And you have a choice to say, I'm one of these companies, the internet's not for me, and you can become extinct. Or you can realize that AI is coming and you can use it as a tool. AI is the ultimate ability to compress time and information that we just talked about. It's the ability to know that as a solopreneur, I can have 6 or 7 AI applications and tools, and it's the equivalent of what it used to be like 5 years ago to have 3 people sitting in your office. It works for you 24/7. There's so much feature functionality. We've even, haven't launched it yet, but we're working on some AI sales voice where you'll call in and it'll be a person. It sounds like a person, and they ask you a lot of questions, and based on where your answers, they'll dictate if you potentially are a good franchisee. Now, is that the way I want it to be long term? No. And the human in me is fighting it because I like the relationship side. I'm a person, and I really like the person to person. But I can go back to what my grandfather said. I can either be right or I can win. And I'm going to win, which means if AI is being used by my competitors, I have an obligation to use it. I have an obligation to learn it, and I have an obligation to my shareholders, my customers, and the future of my brand to learn how to take it and make it more efficient. Because in 5 years, a lot of the jobs that we hire for today will be replaced with AI. It's happening, whether you like it or not, like the internet did. But new jobs are going to be created. New services are going to be created. And it's going to be harder for the people who aren't remarkable and excellent to win as technology continues to progress, right? Back before Amazon, everybody could have their version of an Amazon store in a community. Post-internet, post-Amazon winning the race, good luck competing with Amazon as a central location to buy stuff, basically like what your local Sears used to be or Walmart, right? Digitally, it's very hard to compete with Amazon. They have scale. The same is going to happen with AI. And so if you're not learning it today, if you are being an ostrich because you don't realize how it may or may not work for you, learn it and then decide it's not for you. And if that's the choice you make it as an educated decision, but you don't have the freedom to not learn it if you're going to play in business, because AI is where it's all going. And I spend a good amount of time learning. I haven't implemented as much because right now I'm still in the learning queue and trying to figure out how we want to use it. But I will tell you, if you're not using it, you're unfortunately a dinosaur and you don't realize it yet. And that's a scary place to be.
I just wrote an email yesterday talking about AI, and I said, when I was in the Galapagos, I was doing the Darwin's trail that he did on the beagle, and he wrote survival of the species. And one of his lines was evolve or become extinct. And I've told all of my students, I said, if you don't use AI now, which it's now, by next year, the year after, your business will become extinct.
That's right.
So all of you know that. I've been teaching it. Many of you have just gone through 7 days of training with me using AI for every area of your business. So how many of you are going to use it and are going to make a difference in the life of many, many, many millions together? Awesome. Jeff, once you leave, I'm going to ask everybody to rate your session on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to send you the responses so you can see what they said. All right?
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. As always, John, I love you. Can't wait to hang out. We got to do some lunch again. And if I can do anything for everybody, I just put it in the text or the chat as well, the 5. So I'm around. Thank you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. And this was a privilege.
Hey everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.